Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about fabrics to look for, the flip side of the coin of last week's video, fabrics to avoid, so stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below, hit the notification bell right next to that so you don't miss any of my future content, and hit the like button for this video if you want to see more content like it. Okay, so first off, just like last week, I want to do this small disclaimer that I am not a doctor, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a teacher, and I'm not a pastor. These are all things that I have through my own studying of the scientific side of this, but also from the biblical side of this, have come to me in my own revelation, so just know that. So as I mentioned, I want to talk about the flip side of toxic fabrics, and I'm actually more excited about this week's video than last week's because this is a more like positive spin. When you are told that you need to do a new kind of diet or something by a doctor, it's very overwhelming because you're told all the things that you can't eat, but you're never or rarely given a list of foods you can eat. And so today I want to give you the list of clothing fabrics that are definitely better for you and give you reasons as to why that is. So let's jump right in. First, I want to give you the list of fabrics that I have in my looking and studying have found to be pretty dang good for you. So here's a list of fabrics that you should look for. Linen, wool, cotton, silk, hemp, bamboo, and leather are all things that are going to be just better choices in the world of fabric. So on that note, last week we talked about fabrics that can be, quote, toxic to you. And in that thought process, if you have dark, you have to have light. So if you have fabrics that are necessarily maybe not as good for you, there have to be fabrics that are good for you. And the ones that I just listed are the ones that I definitely want more of in my life. If they're known to be toxic, can they bring healing to the body? These are all questions that I had as I was going through my research. And some people believe that some fabrics have healing qualities within the frequency of the fabrics. So if fabrics can be, quote, toxic to you, can they bring healing to you? Bear with me, go with me here. There is a scientist and researcher named Bruce Tanyo. I'm probably saying that wrong. He believes in measuring body frequency in megahertz that you can see when bodies have gone into fighting a disease. So normal body megahertz, he says, is 62 to 78 megahertz. Some say that when that frequency drops below 58 megahertz, it can indicate the onset of disease. With this, he also, and in my studies, I found that some believe that fabrics have the frequencies and some have frequencies of healing. So linen and wool have 5,000 megahertz in the frequency world. That's 50 times greater than the human body just as it sits. But science also says that when you wear linen and wool together, it cancels one another out. And last week we talked about how the Old Testament, I think it was in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, talks about not mixing fabrics together, specifically calling out linen and wool. It's so wild to me that in this man's study of frequencies, he has found that linen and wool cancel one another out. And the Bible in the Old Testament supports this and vice versa. So really science supports the Bible because the science that we do is newer than the Bible, specifically the Old Testament. So I just thought that was really, really cool that in my research, I found something that actually scientifically supports the Bible's calling out of wearing these fabrics together. So if you remember last week, I talked about, why would the Old Testament call that out there? And I said, to me, I don't know all the answers to that, but I do know that there's a reason why God gave these rules and laws to the people in the Old Testament. We no longer live by the Old Testament because when Jesus died on the cross and rose again, he shed his blood for us, and that fulfilled the law of the Old Testament. And now we live by new law in the New Testament. So organic cotton is at 100 megahertz, which is kind of similar, a little bit more than a normal human body. Hemp is also at 100 megahertz, also just right above, right at a normal human body. And cotton, to call out earlier, I called out organic cotton. Cotton is at 70 megahertz, and that really is like right at that 62 to 78 megahertz that Bruce Tanio talked about. So if you are interested in that, go look him up. I should have put some pictures in here that include his name and his kind of some of his work and all of that. I have to hold up my notes here. You can see I've got my notes, but I am not saying that these fabrics actually heal the body, but some believe that they promote better skin, they reduce irritation, and potentially influence energy levels due to vibrational frequencies. And all of his research and such supports these thoughts and ideas. So I encourage you to go check that out. So specifically the fabrics that I've been looking for, because they're kind of some of the easier, are wool. This is a wool sweater. This undershirt here is a wool undershirt, and I can list some brands down for you in the description box. I'm also going to list them later on in this video that I have found, but I am looking for cotton, linen, wool. Cashmere is even a pretty dang good one, which silk, and leather, of course. Now, leather is not shown, as far as I saw, to have any kind of like healing vibrational frequencies, but it's also not on the negative spectrum. I didn't go as deep to see if maybe the like tanning processes and the chemicals used on it actually can affect that, because there are different types of leathers. There's lamb leather, there's cow leather. There are all kinds of different processes that they go through. And in that, I do wonder, like, are there some that are better than others? I don't know. I'm sure that there are. So we've talked a little bit about what the Bible says. What the Bible says specifically every day is to get dressed with the full armor of God. And that is the most important thing that you can wear. In Ephesians 6:13-17, it talks about wearing the full armor of God. Again, I'm going to have to look now. I know a song that goes for this, but I'm not going to sing it. I'm going to spare you guys. But the full armor of God is the belt of truth, breastplate of God's righteousness, shoes with preparation of gospel of peace, shield of faith, helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit. And again, in the Old Testament, like I said, it talks about avoiding mixing fabrics. In today's world, it is really hard to find clothing that actually supports this and allows you to do that, but they are out there. The Bible also talks about dressing in modesty and simplicity, not going over the top with your looks, because the outward appearance is not what it's about. It's all about your heart posture and your inward appearance for God. So those are going to be the most important things. This just helps support that healthy, spiritual, physical lifestyle. So I also want to mention that a lot of these fabrics that we're talking about in the positive aspect, wool, cotton, linen, they are known to be antimicrobial, antifungal, antibacterial, like all of these things that our bodies are constantly trying to fight off. It's automatically helping you do that. I just think these little things that are so amazing that all line up with the Word of God are just things that help confirm for me that this is the way that I want to go and the way that I'm dressing as much and as best as possible. Since I have learned all this and had these revelations about clothing, what have I done? As I mentioned in the last video, I can't afford to just go and throw out all of my clothing or donate all of my clothing that doesn't align with this and then buy all new clothing. One, it's not sustainable. It's also very wasteful. What I did do is I went through and found things that were lycra, acrylic, rayon, polyester is a huge one. And if they were definitely more than 50% of those fabrics, I pulled them out and I have them listed on my Mercari closet. If you're interested in not feeling the conviction on this, awesome. My Mercari closet is listed below. If you're interested in purchasing these, I have them listed pretty dang cheap. So please go and enjoy. So once I pulled those pieces out, I went to the thrift stores and I was specifically searching for, and this is so funny, but plaid shirts. I've been wearing those a lot. I mentioned that in the last video. I've been wearing those a lot. And so I went and I looked for plaid shirts that were 100% cotton, 100% whatever. But as I was walking through the thrift store and if I saw something that caught my eye, I would pull it up, look at the tag and see what the fabric makeup was. And I was shocked to see some very known brands that we all know and love and have our whole lives that are carrying things that are 100% cotton and 100% linen and wool. Shocking. So here's a list of brands that I found that while I'm thrifting, I have found pieces from them. I'm not saying that everything in their stores are going to be 100% these things, but they do have some things that are these fabrics. Does that make sense? So here it is. Loft, Banana Republic, Not Perfect Linen, J. Jill, Fresh Laundry, Free People, Poetry, Cause, Garnet Hill, Gap, Old Navy, J. Crew, Pact, Quince. I'm telling you, this undershirt that I got is from a brand called Woolly. I actually found it on Amazon. Wild, you guys. So there's so much option out there, and you can still dress like this and be cute, right? But our goal is just to be as healthy as possible, I think.
Let me rephrase that.
My goal is to be as healthy as possible, and that has to include everything that I'm putting on my body as well as in my body. So I hope that this was a much more uplifting video. I really enjoyed making it more. I have done so much research, and this just doesn't even really scratch the surface of what is out there about all of this. It's just wild to me. The more I dig into it, the more I find out, and the more I'm just mind blown at the things that we are allowed to have in our clothing and our food and our pharmaceuticals. It's just wild to me. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was informative. If you have any questions, if I didn't do a good job explaining something, or if you want me to expound a little bit on something, please put that in the comment box down below. Leave me a comment. Leave a purple heart emoji because that's my favorite color and my favorite emoji. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.